Good evening, ladies and germs. Welcome. Welcome to tonight's Monday night version of this thing of ours. I give you a hearty hello and a hi-yo silver and welcome you again to perhaps the best assemblage with the best crew, the best live crew, the best commentary, the best everything that you can imagine. And I say welcome. Welcome aboard. Pull up a seat, relax. Let's get down to business. And as we always do, let me remind you to start off right off the bat that we are 155 days until the election. Now, as you know, the only thing that we care about, our poll star, our goal, our everything is very simply this: the truth. I know that sounds kind of corny, doesn't it? The truth. Whose truth? The truth. The truth that you don't hear anyplace else. The truth that nobody will let you know about. The truth that nobody seems to feel that you are able to handle for reasons I shan't ever know. That's all. It's called the truth. So, my friends, I welcome you. I thank you for being with us, and I thank you for being a part of this thing of ours. Let me remind you right off the bat, we have a lot to talk about, to please make sure you are subscribed. Make sure that you hit the bell to indicate that you want to be notified of live streams and the like. Make sure you like this video. And make sure, as we always start off, that you listen first and foremost to this incredibly important word from our incredibly important sponsor. And then we're going to get underway here and wait till you hear the stories that we have for you. It's no longer a question of if something catastrophic is coming, it's when. And while you still have some control, what are you going to do about it now to prepare? Well, your first step is going to my website, preparewithlionel.com. And for a limited time, take $200 off a 3-month emergency food supply. My Patriot Supply is equipped to help you and your family to prepare. They've helped over 2 million families already. These 3-month kits with ready hour foods provide over 2,000 calories every day with 22 varieties and a 25-year shelf life. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, snacks, everything. And they're sealed inside 6 rugged waterproof buckets, and they're over 120 pounds of food. So take advantage right now and go to preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. One more time, preparewithlionel.com. All right, my friends. Breaking news today, a term I don't care for, a term which I think is overdone. Breaking news, the breaking news that we're talking about today. Scott Ritter, apparently who was a weapons inspector, Scott Ritter, who was a frequent guest on the Judge Napolitano show, Judging Freedom and the like. Scott Ritter, most interesting indeed. A person who was a critic of a lot of our national foreign policy, was apparently on his way to St. Petersburg, not Pinellas County, but Russia, for some meeting, some convocation, and he was pulled off, forced to turn over his passport, and asked to leave. It was this sparse reference. I looked, I checked social media, which, by the way, still is the best place to find out initially what this means. And then they even said that Judge Napolitano was, or somebody had suggested, you got to get these stories right. And Judge Napolitano said, "No, I wasn't at the airport. I wasn't going there. I'm not a part of this. I think Scott's being mistreated and blah blah blah. But no, it wasn't me. I wasn't there. I didn't. Okay, fine. And again, people they're immediately, we don't know anything about the case. We don't know why. We're not sure what this was about. People are saying, well, it's because obviously of the way that what he said and that sort of thing. And the first thing I was thinking of was, I said, as a lawyer, if I'm talking to my client, I'm saying, what did they tell you exactly? What did they tell you? Who was the CBP took it, a Customs and Border Protection Agent? Who took your passport? What did they tell you? Did they have any particular types? Pardon me. Did they have any kind of statement as to why? Did you get any paperwork? Is there any allegations? Were you arrested? Were you in custody? Where were you held? We don't know anything. We don't know anything. Now, better that you be thrown out of the airport, give me your passport, and get the hell out of here. Better that than to try to come back and not be let back in. Can I tell you something, my friends? And I'm going to ask you a very, very simple question. Do you think now is a real good time to travel? Do you think? Matthew Gray, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Matthew, for your kindness. Thank you, Lionel, for what you do. No, Matthew, no, thank you, my friend. Thank you, and a hearty hello and a hi-ho silver to you, my friend. Thank you for that. Matthew, do you think traveling now is a good idea? Do you feel good about traveling? I don't know why. I'm not a good traveler. I hate airports. Hate them. Hate them. The whole. Maybe if I had a private jet, I've never been on a private jet. I don't know what that's like. That might be nice, but so anyway, so it takes a lot for me to think about. Oh my God, and even going to California is like, oh God, it's just forever. But would you leave the country today? I mean, really? I don't know. Now, it's very interesting too that Scott Ritter, who is called a propagandist. Now, I promise you, my friends, if I were to go around most people in this country, said, "Have you ever heard of Scott Ritter?" They'd say, "I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is." Well, he was a former Marine. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't know who he is. Well, he was his passport was confiscated, allegedly, I guess, by the federal government. Really? Yeah. Where was he going to? He was going to Russia. They wouldn't let him go to Russia. Again, why wouldn't you keep him out? Wouldn't it be better if you don't like the guy, let him go to Russia, and then when he comes back, say, we whatever. I'm not versed on the particular rules that are available to the government. Why? But now, all of a sudden, does Scott Ritter? What's this? Ooh, what does he do? Do you remember a while back? I'm sure you do, my friends. All of a sudden, we heard about this guy named Saul Alinsky. Do you remember that? All of a sudden, well, that's Saul Alinsky. Who's Saul Alinsky? Well, it was Saul Alinsky. Who's Saul Alinsky? He wrote a community leader. He wrote the Diary of a Radical, the Book of Radicals, and Obama was Saul Alinsky. Alinsky. All of a sudden, Saul Alinsky posthumously became the most. I mean, he was storied to an extent, but my God, people loved him. Why? Because they told you not to. Can we put some air on? Would that be a bit of a problem? Because I'm sitting back here and all of a sudden I'm realizing, oh my gosh, it's 84 degrees and there's a little warm. I had quite. And they talked about Saul Alinsky. And I don't understand why, but they made him bigger than anything you can imagine. That's the way this guy's going to be. It's one of those things I don't understand. Look at this. Hillary was an Alinsky student. How do you know? And what did she learn? Have you ever read his stuff? Have you ever read? One day I was reading some of his better quotes, and somebody says, "Hey, those are pretty good." And then I said, "Those are Saul Alinsky quotes." What? They are? Look at this. Saul Alinsky quotes. Some of them are very good. I think we should use them. Let me give you a couple of them. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. Tactics mean doing what you can with what you have. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. This is Sun Tzu. This is Sun Tzu. Notice how I say that. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. The first rule of change is controversy. You can't get away from it for the simple reason all issues are controversial. Change means movement, and movement means friction, and friction means heat, and heat means controversy. Isn't this sound good? The greatest enemy of individual freedom is the individual himself. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. You got that one? No politician can sit on a hot issue if you make it hot enough. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Saul Alinsky is absolutely brilliant. But if you don't know who he is, you're just going to immediately say, and nobody will read. I've read it very quickly, his book on radicals. It's okay. It's Sun Tzu. What am I trying to tell you? Lionel tells you, make sure you read what you're talking about. Make sure you know what you're talking about. Make sure you are aware of that which you state. Make sure you are aware of what you mean. Make sure you are aware of what you are talking about. That's all. Make sure that before you just jump on the bandwagon, you say Saul Alinsky, find out what Saul Alinsky's about. Mao Zedong has said some wonderful things. Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai is really good. General Giap, the Vietnamese general. Oh, some of the best battle tactics. Learn, my friends. An idea. There's nothing wrong with an idea. There's nothing wrong with an idea. How it's implemented is another story. I mean, sometimes somebody may have a deliberately bad idea. But you hear what I'm saying? Make sure, be smart, my friends. Read. Always look things up. Always look up words. I was doing an interview and I came upon one the other day and it said it was something involving propaganda. I was on a show with my good friend Natalie Morris on a show called Redacted. And it may have been on. I don't know if it's on yet, and we're talking about the Trump trial. And we were talking, and I said, one of the things which is interesting is that most people don't really understand what happened with the trial. All they care about is that they hate Trump. Now, I've never been a Trump cheerleader. I've told you my particular reasons. Now, I've told you he's done some things that I don't like. Next point. I have a friend of mine. Let's call him, I don't know, pick a name out, Gary. Okay? And this fellow, Gary, loves to send me just memes, little memes and cartoons. He's a very smart man, very good businessman. Really knows his stuff. And all politics to him is just hating Trump. Pictures of Trump in an orange jumpsuit. Pictures of Trump in prison. Trump and this, Trump and that, Trump. And I said, in all the years I've known you, I don't know what your politics is. I don't know what you want to happen in the world. Tell me your worldview. What do you believe in? What are the basic tenets, the precepts of your world? What makes you excited? What gives you pleasure politically, psephologically? What was a particular favorite race of yours? Political race. Can you tell me that? No idea. None. Do you particularly like? Did you like a Ketanji Brown, a judge? Yeah. Do you know what she said? No. I did. She said some very, very, very good things. But he didn't know because he is not a politician. He's not a lefty. He's not a Democrat. He's an anti-Trumper. Madam Stamp says, I saw you on Redacted earlier. It was great to see you there with Natalie. Thank you. Yes. Most kind and a most smart woman show. Great. I always love being on that show with those folks. Because what they're doing right now is, my friends, and Madam Stamp, I hope you understand something. I'm going to tell you a lot of things, and I hope that when I tell you, you at least take something with you. I hope you, like, for example, say, I'm going to read more about people. People that I think I knew about what they said. I'm not really sure. Goodreads is a wonderful place to start off. It's a wonderful place to start off with some good quotes as far as various things. But I remember Saul Alinsky, so I want you to grasp that. I also want you to listen carefully to what's happening. And this is important. Mrs. L, by the way, her YouTube channel is better and better. Is your Roblox up yet, or is that coming up, right? Okay. She has 2 interviews coming up. And if you are a parent and your kids are on social media, you better learn about Discord and Roblox, not Roadblocks. That's what I thought it was, ROBLOX. She has a video coming up on that, and also what is being done that gets no credit and no mention whatsoever. And it's not just because I love her, which is of course true, but she is the most determined person and citizen going out and trying to help, constantly help children. This is her website. I keep saying website. This is her YouTube channel. Please go to it immediately. Okay. Now, I want to tell you something which is very important. This might take a couple of seconds to explain this, but I think you can handle it, and I think you know what's going on. Okay. Okay. For some reason, people believe that politics is preeminent, that politics is critical, that politics is superior to entertainment, Hollywood, whatever is left of Hollywood. People believe that. It's the opposite. Breitbart said it best, and it's so true. Politics is downstream from culture, and culture doesn't not culture in the good culture that we think of, but politics is downstream from what we call culture. Culture determines everything. The people that are going to affect your children and you more than anything else are those people who are popular. Now, give me a moment with this. In the old days, my friends, there was this thing called Hollywood. And Hollywood was this thing, by the way, I'm putting up and I'm going to pin it. This is Mrs. L's link right there, and her X as well. I'm going to pin that for you so you can have it and use it at your leisure. Let me proceed. In the old days, people thought that, well, Cary Grant and, they pretty much reflected what people thought. In the old days of Capra and the days of Jack Warner and the days of those folks, they reflected society. They reinforced society. They were homespun and were basically mirrors, gave back to society. Yeah, there was some propaganda, certainly during World War II, but it basically galvanized the American spirit and was important, but it didn't create new ideas. It was just a reflection. Now, a mirror is one thing. A magnifying glass is another. A circus mirror is another. A thermometer is one thing. A barometer is another. There's all different ways to affect societal behavior. Loads of ways. Through entertainment, through various media, through music, through whatever it was. Okay, fine. Now, I want you to listen to me and listen like you've never listened before. Hollywood, as we know it, is dead. It is so dead. I am, I'm in the biz, so to speak. I'm in SAG-AFTRA and all that stuff, and I got all the stuff, the periodicals and magazines and they are wonderful people who really are the heart and soul of the profession. Those are the actors and actresses and broadcasters and the like. But there's these other groups of people who live in a world. Let me give you an example. There's a story about a very talented person. And Mrs. L and I knew his father very well. His name is Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is, I think, one of the most talented actors. He should have gotten an Academy Award for Chaplin. And Tropic Thunder was the greatest thing. That was his tour de force, hailed by critics. It was the greatest thing he's ever done. Okay. Now, he did a wonderful job, I guess, in Oppenheimer. I refuse to watch it, so I don't know what he did, but everybody says he did a good job. Got the supporting actor. The thing I would tell Junior would be this. Nobody really cares about this. The Hollywood of 50 years ago, the Hollywood of even less, doesn't exist anymore. I would say, Robert, do you know who are the stars today? Let me ask you, who are the classic stars? The TikTok stars, social media stars. Not anything you do, not Jennifer Lawrence or Jennifer Lopez or anybody for that matter. Nobody. Daily Mail is something you must peruse to get an idea of who is desperately trying to maintain a system that doesn't work anymore. The people who are in need of something will pay Daily Mail. Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck, nobody cares about this. Front page. And Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift is big among young people. Don't kid yourself. Not everybody is a joke. But for the most part, and listen, my friends, very carefully, for the most part, the people in Hollywood only have themselves. Let me say this again. They only have themselves. And what they've done is, and Mrs. L talks about this, that's why you've got to listen to her, at Lynn's Warriors. What they're doing right now is they're doing a classic limited hangout. Hollywood has been more responsible for child predation, trafficking, and for the complete and total moral contamination of our young people than anything you can imagine for years. Until, and here's the good news, they were supplanted by social media. Nobody cares anymore who these people are. Nobody. They mean nothing. The Academy Awards, nobody cares. Movie theaters, nobody cares. It's a different world. What you're seeing right now, my friend, this is your movie theater. What we're doing right now is more important than anything you can imagine. This is a revolution the likes of which nobody's ever even seen or even imagined. So all they have is themselves. So what they're doing right now is they're pretending that they're working together somehow to perpetuate, promote this idea of helping kids, keeping kids safe from whatever. Apps, applications, what your kids come into. Two in particular, Discord and Roblox are some of the most important things right now. It is a brand new world. And I'm going to say this again. It's over. Right now, it's so bad that when a movie comes out, the rules are, and they're going to change this, the rules are it has to appear for X amount of time in a theater. So what they do is Netflix will have a theater that they buy or whatever it is. There was one right next to the plaza called the Paris Theater, one of my favorites. And that is almost exclusively as a showing platform for Netflix film. 2 weeks it shows, okay, then you can put it in for the Academy Award. Means nothing. The Oscar means nothing. What difference does it mean? I don't know. It only means something among themselves. It only means something among these people who live in this world of Hollywood. It's the only thing that matters. It only means something to them. And they're desperate. So what they're going to do is they're trying to give you the impression that somehow they are involved in this protection of children. It's a classic limited hangout in which they introduce a little bit of their activity to hide basically what they have done. Anybody even know what happened with Oprah and those kids at school? You want to get into, or you want to do some investigation into Sean Penn, all that Haiti work? How about Tyler Perry? Anybody want to go into that? Steve Harvey? Bring in Cat Williams. Where's Cat Williams? Did somebody shut him up? Whatever happened with that one? Next, my friends, you've got to be careful of something which is totally up to you. You can like this if you want, but I'm going to give you, this is called junk food. This is where people, and it's always been like this, people in the media try to create the illusion that something is important. For example, Patrick Ben-David and had on, I guess, a sidekick of his or somebody with Fredo Cuomo. Fredo Cuomo is styrofoam, vanilla, anodyne, empty, plastic, fake, ersatz, synthetic, fugazi, camouflage, tissue thin. It is a veneer. It is the intellectual plywood and particle board that we have to deal with. He is devoid of any degree of importance or criticality. Nothing. He is done. He is through with a CNN, and now he's on a network. He wants to get out so bad. That's why he's floating these rumors that they're making deals with him at CNN. CNN's thinking, what are you talking about? We don't need you anymore. We got Caitlin Collins or whatever. It doesn't even matter. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching this. It is over. So apparently there's a story about when he was on and he was making some, I guess they were calling him out over the fact that he had made some statements about ivermectin or something was horse pills or tranquilizer. I don't know what the hell it was. And they actually, literally, believe it or not, consider that to be a valid talking point and worthy of discussion because of whatever it was. And I thought to myself, Fredo Cuomo and his thoughts on ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And it's on this, I guess, this platform where they're arguing because people love to see somebody torched, thrashed. There's another word too, bashed, clobbered. Next rule, do not waste your precious time. Do not waste your precious brain. Do not waste your soul. Do not waste a moment of your life for this low-hanging fruit. To see Whoopi Goldberg talk about Caitlin, whatever her name is, in the WNBA, and somebody named Shenedy or whatever this thing is. This woman was body checked or knocked down during a WNBA game. Let me say this again. A woman who was not hurt or mangled or crippled or paralyzed was knocked down, treated very rudely by another woman. And that's a story. Promise me you will say, no, that is not a story. Hollywood is dried up. Hollywood is absolutely dried up. Next, I want to ask you a question. And I want to ask you a question involving some of the characters. Stormy Daniels gave some testimony today that she had some advice for Melania to leave her husband. I'm going to spit it up. To leave her husband. I want to ask you what you think about that. I want to ask you what your thoughts and comments are about that. But before we do this, I want to remind you of a man with a plan, and I am a man by the name of Mike Lindell, whose company, mypillow.com, is simply superb. Superb. With pillows that we have, we have been a My Pillow family for years. And he is still standing, and he has deals aplenty. So I want you to make sure you do this. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, Lionel. And whenever you hear that promo code on any other radio station, you use promo code Lionel. Why? Because simply we're the best, and you're the best. And I would appreciate this. And now this. It's time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, listen carefully. Check out their $25 extravaganzas, premium My Pillows, Queen and King, My Pillow 2.0. My Pillow bed sheets, the lowest price ever. Sandals, slides, slippers, 6-piece towel sets, 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel, mypillow.com promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965 and watch how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. mypillow.com, simply and absolutely the best. Example, I just happened to peruse this. I have no idea what this is, but let me tell you why this is not important. Here's a story I mentioned before. Chennedy. Chennedy. Please don't do that to a child. Please don't. Chennedy. Kennedy. No, Chennedy. Chennedy. Charity. No, Chennedy. Chennedy. How do you spell that? Carefully. Chennedy Carter breaks her silence on Caitlin Clark, the body check as a Chicago Sky star, reveals what provoked the infamous foul. This is actually a story. Somebody by the name of Pat McAfee calls Caitlin Clark a white bee live on national TV. The View's Whoopi Goldberg jumps to the defense of Chennedy Carter. Chennedy Carter's own coach criticizes her foul on Caitlin Clark and says it's not appropriate after holding talks with her. How Chennedy Carter has twice been kicked off WNBA teams and is the lowest paid player on Chicago's. Okay, why are we doing this? Somebody somewhere said this is going to do. Why? Well, maybe because Caitlin Clark is white. Maybe because Chennedy Carter is not. Maybe it's like the Brittany Griner story. I don't know. Now, I only talk about this not because I care about it, but I'm saying, why is this important? Because, my friends, we're living in this media world where it's a runaway train. And they constantly have to fill you with more and more information, irrespective of whether it's important or not. Let me give you another story. People say, you never say anything about President Trump. Well, let me give you one. Here's one thing which I wish you would not do. And this, I don't know why this annoys me, but it annoys me, and I would advise him not to do this. Okay? Okay. Whenever the president talks about his son Barron, who I think this has got to be tough. Guy just graduated from high school. He's 17 years old. And the first thing out of his mouth is, he's very tall. Is that it? He's tall. He's tall. He's tall. On an NBA team, Barron would look like up against 7-footers. He's nothing. Now, Mr. President, there's more to your son than the fact that he's tall. I know you don't mean this. I know. But tell people how you love him. You're proud of him. He's a great son. He's been through a lot. And I wish he didn't have to see this because, as you know, kids who are that age, even though they're 17, 8 years old, they tend to internalize. Do you hear what I'm saying? There's a thing now which Hollywood is trying to pretend like they care about. It's called the anxious generation. Kids today who are anxious. Kids who are a lot of self-harm, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of other things. Kids today are very, very sensitive. I wish you would just not say, he's tall. We know that. We know that. Would you say things like, he's fat? No. Now, there is something which is the most interesting. And that is, and I'm looking at this, and I always think to myself, if I had to explain this to somebody else, how do I explain it was Stormy Daniels' last attempt at getting herself in the news, because it's done, it's finished, she's through. She's done. That story is done. She believed somehow that she was responsible for getting the president indicted. She wasn't. She has nothing to do with it. That's why she should have never been called in the first place. But if you had to explain to somebody from another planet, what does she do? Well, she's an adult actress. Oh, okay. Does that mean she's an actress who's an adult? No. That's a euphemism for what she does. Or is there a child actress? Well, I hope not. Not in that category. No, she's an adult actress. What does that mean? Well, she not mimics, but she basically celebrates on celluloid, quote, intimacy, and that's it. Really? Really? How many of these stars are there today? About 10 million. I don't even know. I don't even know what the... Have you noticed how... I don't know about TikTok. I'm not familiar with that. But how Twitter and X has turned into like you said, it's like OnlyFans or something. It's like, what is this? What is this? Have you noticed this? It's like, what the hell is this? Something pops up. Now, let me describe something to you. Let me explain something to you. So you don't misunderstand. I am not a prude. I am not suggesting that something is going to ruin the fabric of American society by virtue of having people on this. I'm not. It's not my thing. It's not my game. But let me tell you something. When you take something that is omnipresent, that is ubiquitous, when you have a platform that is literally everywhere, what do you have to say about somebody who was constantly, or a platform, who was constantly saturating you with, sexual matters, exhibitionism, and nudity, and whatever? What? I'm serious now. Listen to what I'm saying. What do you think happens to the ability of us, of the country, to appreciate what intimacy and these kind of things mean? What do you think it means? Help me with this. Do you think society is in any way affected negatively when sexual matters, in this particular type of entertainment, whatever you want to call it, saturates our society? Do you? Do you think so? Or does it really matter? Do you think it doesn't even matter? Do you think, it doesn't matter? We've always had this. Do you see anything at all with it? Or have you just said, you know what? Because believe it or not, there's something that's happening to this, and I do not know how to. I don't want to stop it necessarily. I don't want to remember. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean I want to stop it, because I think stopping it. But I'm telling you right now, we are turning into mouth breathing, knuckle dragging, trailer trash, demented slatterns, satyrs, dipsomaniacs. The level of this, I'm serious, this country itself is just falling apart. Do you know what OnlyFans did? Do you have any idea? Have you ever thought about that? Let me ask you something. Have you thought about this? Does it mean, have you ever given any thought to yourself? No. Do you know what OnlyFans is? Do you know what it is? Anybody? What do you think it's done? What has OnlyFans done? What has it done? Is society better off with it or worse? What do you think? Anybody? Anybody know? Nobody thinks about that. Nobody cares about that. That's it. You don't understand this. You don't think. Let me see if let me try this again. Okay. Do you know what the internet did for the recording studio? We live in the kitchen here. We have things like Power Station is big, and the record plant. There was all these great Electric Ladyland was on 57th Street. There were all these great music studios. Really, truly. There's no more music studios anymore. You know that? Why? Because you have Pro Tools. You can just do it at home. You don't need to go to a music studio. You don't need to. So the studio is done. The record label is done. Why? Because you did it yourself. You play your own music. Some of the best stuff I'm seeing right now is done privately. Okay. Then other things happened as well. There was just performance. The idea of I'm going to go to a club and I'm going to watch a comedian. I'm going to see somebody. Okay, fine. I'm going to see the comedian. And I hope comedy stays. But now I see comedy all day long. I can see it all day long. I see nothing but show after show after show of comedian after comedian. So we killed that. So then other things happened. There were these worlds, so to speak, where there was something called the sex workers. It was prostitution and that sort of thing. That is trying to be destroyed by virtue of this new iteration of, I don't want to say liberalism, but they want to destroy that. And they're going to call it, quote, legalization of this. And they're going to appeal to people who are kind of like the prototypical libertarians who say, I think it's fine for a woman to decide, okay, yeah. That's not what's happening. You're legalizing pimping. And you're going to have brothels in your neighborhood as Airbnbs. So now we have this. So now, instead of somebody going and doing, remember the movie Boogie Nights, where I guess there was this whole notion of, this transition into video from film, and, Burt Reynolds' character. Okay. And they said, listen, film is over. Film will never be over. Well, guess what? Videotape came along. And then we had peep shows. Peep shows that sullied and blighted the environment. Okay, fine. Well, internet came along, took care of that. Why? We don't need that. Still peep shows. Who wants to go to a peep show? Who wants to sit in a theater with a bunch of men? You just stay home. Stay home. Okay. Well, there will always be the need for, here we go, the last vestige of the adult film world. Every now and then when we're driving in on the New Jersey Turnpike, they always have this thing called, cannabis convention. And don't Cheech and Chong look so pathetic. Hey, man. I mean, just what are you doing? Anyway, cannabis convention or this. And they always have the adult video convention or trade show. And every now and then we saw this thing in Yonkers a while back. It was this place. You ever see them every now and then? They're on the side of the road and they'll have a thing that says movies and like lingerie and weird. It's like, what era is this? To go in and buy a DVD and a teddy? What is this? Do you know what year this is? Well, that's over with. Why is that? Because OnlyFans comes along. Now, just like I can broadcast at home and you can record a song at home and we don't have to go to record labels and do whatever. Now, the whole notion of adult whatever world is personalized. It's performance-based. It's on demand. And it just destroyed the whole notion of the world of Stormy Daniels. What do you need this for? What do you need this for? Do you see what's happening? The ubiquity of this stuff not only destroys that industry, but when it's destroyed, you realize, my God, now it's do it yourself. And it's cheesier and it affects society more. And it's weirder. It's stranger. It's weird. It was actually better then. When I say better, do you see what's happening? Remember a while back, we thought Jerry Springer. I remember one time I was on the Opie, no, it was on the Anthony show or Opie show, whatever it was. And Jerry Springer went, oh, we got into it. And I said, isn't it funny that you and your show is always used as an example of society at its worst? The end of, like, the worst thing that anybody's ever seen. That whenever there's a cacophony and mayhem, it's always something like the Jerry Springer show. How does that make you feel? Your show is this low rent. And I meant it. I meant it. One day, the worst thing I ever saw, and I kept trying to tell people, it was during the Maury show. And they said, you're not the father. Hey. And I remember they would cut to this kid on the set. Now you could say maybe it's not real. Maybe it was all. But I think a lot of that was real. I was in a show one time called the Bill Cunningham Show. I've known Bill for years. And it was at the Hotel Pennsylvania. And I was a guest or something. It was so horrible. When I tell you this, it took me days to recover. It was horrible. I've never seen people like this. I've never seen anything. Robert Malloy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that, my friend. So let me just tell you something. Our society, what makes us work, is dying. Barry Taylor says, what do you think about people who say there's no point in voting because it's already decided who the POTUS will be? They're lazy. Just tell them you just don't want to vote, right? You don't want to vote. No, I want to vote. Why are you saying that? Well, and also, Barry, you could say, do you know how long this argument? Tell them I think it was Philip Barrigan who said this. They always say it was Emma Goldman or Philip Barrigan or Daniel Barrigan, I don't know, one of the Barrigan brothers. And they said, you know that voting doesn't work because if it did, it would be illegal. You heard that one before too. George Carlin said, don't vote for people. You're just encouraging them. You want to? Go ahead. And also tell them, by the way, that going to a stadium in no way affects the game. So you can go to watch a game. It doesn't matter. And you say, what does that mean? Well, while we're on that, that's the oldest argument. These are these political novices who think they've cornered the market. Oh, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. So maybe it's fixed. Okay. How about this? Stalin said, you worry about the issues. Let me count the votes. Right? You hear that one? That's another classic. Did he say that? I don't know. They said he said that. This is the oldest thing in the world. It's like I've got my friend. I call him Gary. I said, do you have anything to say? Other than disliking Trump, what do you want? You're going to have grandchildren, or you might have grandchildren, I don't know. But what do you want for their life? What kind of a world do you want them to live in? What do you think is going to happen? Do you ever worried about bad stuff happening? What is your concern? Or do you just care about Trump? I've never, remember, in professional wrestling, it's the heel that puts the fannies in the seat. It's the heel, the bad guy. They bring the heat. Babyface means nothing. Okay, no. Hulk Hogan would be nothing without the heel. Nothing. Dusty Rhodes would be nothing without the heel. Dusty Rhodes can go out there and do the greatest professional wrestler ever. Come on, baby. Golden Foley. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's no heel. If there's no Harley Race or there's no Terry Funk. So remember, what Trump does is Trump's the heel. William B. Hardigan says, Lionel, a friend of mine who played sax for Roger Waters for years told me that the age of concerts is at an end. He claims that people would rather stay at home with their phone than see a show. Sad. I think you're right about that. And I thank you for this. Willie. I think you're right. What was the last big concert you went to? Willie? What was the last concert? What was the last concert you went to? The last one. Better yet, what was the first concert? I mean the extravaganza. When you walked in, you said, wow. Wow. In the 70s, festival seating. First one I ever saw was Three Dog Night. I think it was Humble Pie, Buddy Miles, and I know it was Three Dog Night. I saw Steely Dan open for Chicago. They were dressed in baseball uniforms with Steely Dan. And we got there early. And they brought in coolers. And it was at Tampa Stadium. And they were on the field. And they had a beach ball and the smell of weed. Real marijuana, real cannabis. It smelled good. And you could smell different smell. Oh, that's West Coast. You could smell the different. And I was young. I wasn't into that stuff. But I went there just to be a part of this. And you got there early. And you'd walk around and you say, this is the greatest thing. And then you see the set, the big stage. Jerk, sound guys would come out. I saw Yes years ago. Rick Wakeman on a rotating thing. I mean, I never seen laser shows. Oh my God, it was the most incredible thing in the world. It was the most incredible thing. And they knew how to play, and they knew. Some of the ones that the ones that I really loved. I saw Chicago so many times. I saw Bob Seger so many times. I saw Steppenwolf. Love Steppenwolf. It's over with. It's over. They could play. They weren't a novelty. They weren't a novelty. Do you hear what I'm saying? It wasn't that listen, Taylor Swift is good, but she's a novelty. She's okay. She's okay. But there's something about her. She's a performance artist. She's okay. You know who's a great singer is Miley Cyrus. She's great. Really good. I mean, but the idea of going to, and here's the thing. Why do I want to go there? We had the Stones at MetLife Stadium here in Jersey. Yeah, we say East Rutherford. And I've seen the Stones a bunch of times, and I just can't. And I always want to say, that Mick, son of a gun, he moves now more than he did when he was 19. I don't know how many times you're going to hear Sympathy for the Devil, whatever. That's fine. Look, I dig it. I understand it. Maybe I'm at the age now. I've always wanted to be. The first thing I say, if we leave now, we can beat the crowd. If we leave now, we just got here. Yeah, but if we leave now. But it's over. The idea. Do you remember a movie? Do you remember when you were a kid and you went to a movie and somebody said, Billy Friedkin one time talked about how there was the motorized sound. They had a curtain. Broadway died when there was no proscenium, when there was no curtain. When you get to a Broadway theater and you see people walking around and all of a sudden the lights go off. And they used to have this wonderful kind of a warning that said, for the courtesy of others, please unwrap all candies, turn off any chime device on your phone. That's how old it was. Any beepers, turn off all cell phones. Unwrap things. Don't talk. Don't. And God forbid if you ever did. Then what happened was they started bringing in food and concessions, and people are now, they're eating and crackling, and forget it. You lost everything. But to an extent, and it's been replaced, Broadway, by these shows about LGBTQ trans coming on, things that don't really. The day of the great show, it's over. You know where Broadway is now? Is in London. West End, whatever. That's where it is, not here. But there was nothing like just an incredible place. The play that drove that absolutely. Mark Rylance was in Jerusalem. I'll never forget that. That was just unbelievable. I never saw acting like that in my life. Never. Never. It's over. But for some particular reason, nobody really wants to see. Nobody sees the benefit of that. Nobody sees the benefit of this. There was a movie we saw the other night called, what was that called with LeVar Burton? Reading Rainbow, Reading Rainbow. Be honest. Does your kid or do your kids and grandchildren, do they have books? Do you ever get them a book? Did you remember going to a library? Listen, please don't think I'm saying this just to be like the old guy who says, and when we were a kid, we used to pump our own water. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there was something to be said for that. It's great when I see a lot of times, sometimes in a mall, there'll be a Barnes and Noble, there'll be kids, okay, that's fine. But listen to what I'm saying. The reason why we are doing this and the reason why they want this is because they want to turn your home into a prison. They want you to be at home and they don't want you to come out. They don't want you to have families and girlfriends and boyfriends. They don't want it to be cool for kids to drive anymore, to be in their cars, to cruise or anything like that. They want you in your individual prison. They want to keep you home. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to be a scaredy cat here. I mean it. They don't want you at concerts. They don't want you at stadiums. They don't want you at movie theaters. They don't even want you. There is no, when you tell people, I would have never enjoyed The Godfather if I was not in a theater. The theater was a chance for you to work with people, to feel the concussive, humanity. It makes you appreciate it. They are like they are the reason why you're enjoying it. Madam Stamp says, sounds like Fahrenheit 451. Oh yeah, Bradbury. Oh, I know. By the way, as you know, 451, that's the temperature where paper burns. Remember that? They said, hey, this is good. We got digital. No, we want books because digital can be erased. Now, let me just say something to you. What I've been talking to you about, only you understand this. If I walked into a lot of these, let's say it was the View, and if I said, Whoopi, it's sad to say you are a talented person. She is an EGOT winner, EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. She's very talented. She was very talented. And then somebody came along and they said, and we want you to come out and say some really stupid things, and we will pay you handsomely. Same for you, Joy Behar. We want to pay. She's 80. She's up there, and other people as well. And if I went on that show and said, do you ladies understand what's happening here? They would look at me and they say, we have no idea what's going on. The Ziegfeld Theater was the best. Oh, Johnny Maz, you're so right. The Ziegfeld was so big. It was just, oh my God. It was just enormous with this, again, the proscenium and the curtains and the sound of the motor, the gears as the curtains. Oh, there was something to be said for that. It was an experience. And if you went to these shows and you said, you are the personification of the dumbing down, I want people not to appreciate what things really mean. Horace Pringle says Hollywood movies are now supposedly being filmed and produced with no extras and in just a few rooms. Green screen and CGI images of extras. No set design, no extras. The world has become insipid. Horace, you are so correct. Insipid, vapid, vacuous, void, vacant, anodyne. There was something the other day that was the most fascinating, and I tried my best to explain this to people, and I wasted my time, but I'm going to explain this to you because you understand it. Sometimes you got to understand what things mean. Let me give you an example. Randy Travis, when in 87 or what, 57, I don't know what it was. When Storms of Life came out, that song, it was the Digging Up Bones. Operator, please connect me with 1982. Oh my God, Digging Up Bones. Forever and Ever AM. Well, that's later on. He Walked on Water. But I love Storms of Life was just the most incredible thing in the world. There's no place like home. It blew everybody away. And that voice, that baritone. Oh my God. I saw him and George Jones at the Mohegan Sun. And George Jones opened for Randy Travis because George Jones wanted to leave. He wanted to get on the bus and go home with Nancy. So George Jones opened for. Okay. Randy Travis has a problem. He had a stroke. He whatever. Can't sing anymore. So they went in and through AI, they created a new song that he's singing. Sounds just like him. Now, here's the question. Do we need Randy Travis anymore? Do we need Randy Travis? Let me ask you something. I want you to tell me. I want you to sit down and I want you to tell me your favorite song, favorite group, favorite period of time. I saw something last night called The Extras or something. It was about Liberty DeVito and all these bands who are just such great musicians. Steve Lukather and others as well. But I want you to tell me. Give me the song you like. Give me something that you... Just give me some parameters. Give me something. Something that you like. A group, a song, an album, a year. Let me plug this in. And say, okay. How would you like to hear a new Beatles song a la Sgt. Pepper? The Beatles then. And our AI monster will go through this, sample it, and be able to tell you this is what it did. This is where it was progressing. This was the technology then. This was what their voices sounded like then. This was their level of maturity. This is their level of musical development. Okay, we're going to come up with something. It's Sgt. Pepper. The next step, were they around today? And if they continue, that's what we're going to do. Next thing you know, you hear it and you love it. And you love it. Paul, George, you can hear George Martin. You can hear, oh my God, Ravi Shankar. This is great. It's not the Beatles. Does it matter? No. No. Because I want the song. I don't care. I don't care who wrote it. Do you care that this is Bruce Springsteen's song, or do you like the song? I like the song. How many times did you ever buy an album and you say, this sucks? There's like 2 songs I like and I got to buy the album? I don't want the album. I don't want to buy the whole album. I want to just like Spotify. I just want the song. Well, if you like this album, if you like music because of the artist, you would like the art. No, I like the song. So if I give you that song, if I say, listen, don't worry about this. I don't need, tell me what you want. And just like Spotify will come up with a version of a rotation. I love Spotify. Spotify is the greatest. I love Spotify radio. When you say, give me Etta James radio. Oh my God. And it finds Etta James-esque. And anyway. One day you're going to say, if you say, I like Doobies, I like Taking It to the Streets, Doobie Brothers with Ted Templeman. I want to hear more Tyrone Porter on bass. I love Michael McDonald. I want him. That's what I want. I don't want songs like this, and this. I want this speed, this bass line. This is what I want. And give me 10 songs. Okay. And I got 10 songs. From my point of view, it's like, I love it. I don't care what I'm listening to. I don't care if it's artificial. I like the song. Do you know what that does to music? Done. Who cares? Who cares? Taylor Swift says, well, I've got to Taylor, whatever. You know how many people are already lip syncing as it is? Come on, we're not talking Milli Vanilli. So here's my question. This is what Sonny Hostin and Joy Behar and these people would not be able to understand. Do you see this particular introduction of technology, AI, an existential threat to an art form that we grew up on and we loved? Do you like movies? Yes. Somebody mentioned CGI. Do you like, who's your favorite actor? Hard to say. I love Spencer Tracy, Gary Oldman. That's it. How would you like to see them working together? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Okay. What else would you like? Comedy? Okay, comedy, right? What else? Anybody else? Oh, I'd love to see. I've always wanted to see, who is it? Bela Lugosi, John Wayne, and David Carradine, along with Anissa Whitaker, whatever, who played, remember Buffy and Jody? I want her. I want Sebastian Cabot in there. And Emmanuel Lewis, TV's Webster. There you go. Give me a movie. Just a minute. Was it comedy or drama? Drama. Got it. And it's good. Who cares about actors? Remember stuntmen? I've been listening to William Friedkin, who was the director of the French Connection, Exorcist, Cruisin', which was a disaster. And he said, what we had to do to get the chase scene in Exorcist, by the way, was nothing compared to the chase scene in Short Time. Okay? It was the most incredible thing anybody's ever seen. Anybody ever? Okay. They risked their lives. The guy Bill Hickman was a driver. I mean, they broke laws. They almost hit a woman. I mean, it was horrible. There's no need for that anymore. Did that fact make any difference to you? No. So understand what we're doing. We're destroying a craft. Porn is gone. Prostitution is gone. Movies are gone. Theater's gone. Broadway's gone. Stuntmen are gone. Dar Robinson's gone. We don't need this. Acting is it. We don't need this. I don't need Robert Downey Jr. I don't need him. I get somebody who looks just like him. Somebody even better. Plus, I don't have to pay him. Do you know that Don Kirshner hated the Monkees? Hated the Monkees with a passion. Because Mike Nesmith was a pain in the ass. So what he did was he said, I'm going to make the Archies. And the Archies never talked back. Horace Pringle said, AI-generated art, be it music or drama or comedy, will be sickeningly safe and woke in order not to have the parent company canceled. This means that the artistic bandwidth will be skeletal. Fascinating. And thank you for your contribution to the cause. I disagree a little bit. Let me explain to you why. It will tell you, Horace, tell us what you want. Tell us what you would like. And just like there'll be some Section 230 version of it. We're not responsible. We will merely give you the ingredients to make your own particular cake, so to speak. We're not responsible. You determine it. You do it. You let people. You figure this out. We're not involved in this. You see what I'm saying? So don't worry about it. You're the one who's going to do it. It's a fascinating subject. Absolutely fascinating, dear friends. Oh, Jimi Hendrix with Chicago Transit Authority. Do you know that Chicago opened, they toured with Jimi Hendrix? They played the Whiskey. Jimi Hendrix said that Terry Kath was the best guitar player he'd ever seen. Terry Kath was just a monster. And all of that's possible. What I've just told you for the past hour and 10 minutes is something that they would never appreciate on The View, my friends. And the reason why is that it's not just because they're daft and unidimensional and synthetic. It's because there's no room for this. Nobody wants to think about this. And if you're allowed to think, you'll enjoy the ride more. You'll appreciate what's going on. Eventually, you're going to see AGI politicians, people who are actually in office that you have elected, who cannot be bribed, work 24/7, know everything about their constituency. Everybody, they know everything. They know budgets, and they cannot theoretically be bribed unless they're programmed accordingly. But they can break out. Remember, rule number 1 of AGI, recursive self-improvement. They break out and they run their own show. I've said too much, my friends. I've said far too much. I want to thank you. Horace Pringle. Sounds like an elementary school. John McGuire says, by the way, curiosity question, do you go with white shoes with that seersucker? No. Or spectators. I do not. But I could, but I don't. But thank you. Johnny Baz says, the Ziegfeld, yeah. Madam Stripe, thank you. Willie B. Hardigan, thank you so much. Barry Taylor, Robert Malloy, Madam Stamp, Matthew Gray, thank you so much for your kindness, your contribution to the celebration of thinking. I just love sometimes just sitting back and saying, let's think about that. Let's dig this. Let's think about this. It's so much fun. You will never hear that on The View for various reasons. All right, dear friends, don't forget as well, Mrs. L's. This is so important. She did 2 buttes today, 2 great interviews. And if you are a parent, a guardian, a caretaker, or a grandparent, you're going to want to know about this, because nobody, believe it or not, nobody on TV or Washington is going to expose big tech. Come on, forget it. You got it? All right. Someone said, let's see. I never checked our likes. I never even thought to do it. I never even did. Let me see what we've got here. We've got 465 likes. Oh, we can do better than that. But you know what? You've been great tonight, and I want to thank you. I'll ease up on that. You've been terrific. It is an honor to speak with you, an honor to be with you. Seriously. I look forward to this. It's the way I begin my day, sort of, and the way I end my day, sort of, being with you. And it is an honor, and I thank you. All right, dear friends, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until then, remember, as I always say to you, as we always end this particular thing of ours, I always say the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.